The final phase of creating our threaded piece here will involve first of all setting up the crease sets that we're going to use to control the smoothing that we will be applying, and then of course adding that smoothing by means of the Open Subdiv modifier. With Edit Poly selected in the modifier stack then, let's use our modifier buttons to apply both crease sets and Open Subdiv modifiers to the mesh. We can set our Open Subdiv iterations to 3, and then on the crease sets modifier, jump into Edge Subobject mode and turn the Show End Result feature off. The first thing we want to do here is set up the creasing on the root of our thread, essentially the part that makes up the main body of the bolt. Now, because we have made a series of cuts on this mesh, we have partially broken some of the edge loops that we would want to use. Basically, anywhere that we have cut to a try is likely to be a point at which the loop now terminates. This isn't a big deal, but it does mean that we will have to select a number of edges in order to get the loop command to work. In fact, let's take a look at how things are working right now by selecting a couple of the root edges that sit a little way down the mesh. If I then hit loop in the command panel, you can see that our selection runs from this point and goes all the way down to the bottom of the thread. However, as we follow the thread upwards from this point, you can see, as we get to the first of our try cuts, that the loop selection terminates. Obviously, we want our thread to carry on from here, and so let's hold down the Control key so that we can click to add this unselected edge to our selection. And if we hit the loop command again, the selection goes a little bit further. But of course, still terminates at the next try. And so let's just Control click to add these last 2 edges to the selection. After turning Show End Result back on so that we can see our smoothing, we can scroll down the crease sets rollout and create a new crease set called root _ crease, making sure that we hit the Create Set button once we have entered the name. We also want to add a value of 0.2 here, and again hit enter. With the creasing at the root of the thread nicely tightened up now, we can focus attention on the tip or crest of the thread. And so, with the Show End Result again turned off, let's select the first edge in the spiral here and hit the loop button, which this time creates a complete selection for us with no breaks. We can then turn Show End Result back on, create a crease set called tip _ crease, and then set to a value of about 1.7, just so that we keep a little bit of thickness on the edge here. If we exit Subobject mode now, click in some empty space to deselect, and then hit F4 to hide edge faces, we can zoom out a little and see that we have done a pretty good job of creating a nice threaded stud for our breastplate.